Hello everybody and welcome back to Story Behind the Story. I'm your host, Keegan Cooper, and with me this week we have Sammy. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's awesome. And we just recently had an event on campus, our 9/11 stair climb, and we know that you got out there and got the chance to cover it. So what was that like? What was the atmosphere, the weather, and everyone was there? What was it like to experience that?
It was really interesting because they always do a 9/11 kind of memorial type ceremony on the morning of 9/11, but this year they decided to do the stair climb in conjunction with that on a different night. And it was really cool to see that kind of first time event. And even though it was really gloomy, it was raining all day, so they weren't sure whether it was going to happen or not. It was really cool to see how many people turned out in spite of the fact that it was kind of cold and kind of dreary, but it was kind of appropriately moody for such a somber occasion.
And I know that we saw students, faculty, staff, local firefighters and things like that. So what was it like, the experience for them to be out there? I mean, carrying all that gear and you know, climbing those steps to, you know, raise awareness and memorial of those firefighters.
Yeah, all of the firefighters were in full gear, and some of them had hoses on their backs, which are super heavy. And so even though it was really cold, everybody was sweating buckets, and it kind of added to that experience to think that real firefighters have to carry all of that gear, including the firefighters who perished in 9/11. And also there were some Missouri National Guard members there who were fully outfitted and had backpacks on. So everybody was kind of giving their best effort to make it really impactful for them and the others around them.
And I know we saw a wide variety of students there. Student Senate President Kyrell Jones was there. What did he have to say about the experience and getting to be a part of something so meaningful?
I was really glad to talk to him because it's interesting for students, because most of us, if not all of us, don't remember 9/11 because we were kids or not born yet. And I like to hear his perspective because he took it so seriously and it impacted him really greatly, even though he didn't remember 9/11. And it was cool to hear from him about how he feels our generation has the burden of continuing to remember 9/11, even though we don't physically remember it.
And I know we saw with the story there was a consistent phrase that they were using, that never forget phrase. And I know Dr. Jaczynski had some words of wisdom to offer. What did he have to say to the students and to the faculty and about remembering this event and why we do it?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's difficult to answer the question of why, like, what is it that we're not supposed to forget? And he talked a lot about the courage and the heroism and the selflessness. And I think that one of the reasons why 9/11 was so impactful for people was because it was a time when people came together around the people who were selfless and courageous. And in a time when, especially in the year 2020, which it feels like everything is awful, it's nice to find those bright spots. You know, as Fred Rogers said, look for the helpers. And firefighters are definitely those helpers. And so I think it's nice to see those people doing things for people other than themselves. It's really encouraging.
And with the event specifically, 2,071 steps. Was that on an individual basis? Did people compete with a group of people? How did that work?
So some people did it on their own, which was amazing, but a lot of people got into groups of 4 or 5 and as a group completed the steps, which was really interesting. There was one group that I was standing next to, and at the top of every lap, they said something that they were really grateful for, which was really impactful to me, that they made it really personal about them, and it was also kind of a bonding exercise for the people who did it as a group.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out today and talking with us. A great event and a great way to remember those firefighters that sacrificed so much for us today. We'll be right back with some more Story Behind the Story. I'm your host, Keegan Cooper.